He who has a strong enough why can bear almost any how. Friedrich Nietzsche. Today we are going to talk about purpose. And this is the why in the Nietzsche's quote. Because purpose is basically your reason to live on this earth. Why do you need to exist? And many people think that purpose can be found. In reality, it could be found, or discovered actually, through some experience. And then you will be like, oh my God, that experience taught me this, so therefore that's my purpose, turns out. Or if you don't feel like you have a purpose right now, why don't you just make it? And so today we're going to talk about how to make your own purpose. Now, purpose is a very abstract notion, right? So let's try to get it a little more concrete. Let's try to get it a little more measurable, okay? And in my view, purpose can be defined as how something is being used, right? So imagine if you were a tool, right? What would be the productivity of your work? What outcome can you produce? And so what is an outcome of a human's life? Well, basically it's legacy, right? It's whatever is left after we are gone. And so I suggest that we look at our purpose from the point of view of legacy. And as I was doing my research, I basically found 4 components of legacy. If you have any ideas to add to them, please leave a comment. But my 4 points of legacy, my 4 types of legacy are this: living offspring, inventions or things that you have created, financial legacy, of course, and education. So living offspring is kind of obvious, right? It's your kids, your grandkids, your great-grandkids. Okay. Inventions are the things that you actually created with your hands. For example, my grandpa made a toy truck for me. And it was a huge truck that I could actually ride it on it. And so had I not been in a different country now, my son would be riding that truck. And so that would be my grandpa's legacy in the form of things that he created. And so you can look around your house and you might find that there are things that were created by your grandparents, great-grandparents maybe. And so that is their legacy. They kind of live through those items and they appear in your life through those things. Okay. Next is the financial legacy. Financial is, of course, it's easy. It's what property you leave after yourself, what money you leave after yourself, what you can give to somebody else, to maybe your next generation, or basically to somebody else. Like there are many funds that are established by people who, let's say, didn't have any kids, but now these funds, they have their name and they provide scholarships and stuff like that. So that is one form of legacy. And the last form is education. It's basically what you teach and to how many people you teach. And you don't have to be a teacher to have an educational legacy. If you're a parent, you are having the living offspring, right? But you're also teaching that child whatever you know, right? If you, let's say, work, and at work you get a junior employee, and then you teach them something, there you go. That's your educational legacy. When you tell somebody something and they learn from you, that's your educational legacy, okay? And so some people, you would be actually surprised that some historic figures did not have any living offspring. It doesn't mean that you have to have all 4 of them. It's whatever you appreciate in life more, focus on that, okay? And another point that we can focus on in terms of our purpose is not only legacy as what we leave, but kind of how we do that. As I mentioned, there are inventions or things we make, but those things, they don't have to be physical items. They can be companies. Let's say Steve Jobs and his team created Apple, right? And so now this Apple is one of those inventions. It didn't exist before, but now it exists. And so that could be argued that that is Steve's legacy, okay? And so now let's talk about this from this point of view. How to have these inventions, how to help the world create something new, okay? And I believe this boils down to problem solving. And Elon Musk once famously said, you are paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problems you solve. So let's say why a janitor is getting paid less than a doctor. It's because solving a problem of a dirty floor is much easier than solving a problem of somebody having deadly disease, right? So that's why there is this huge discrepancy. Okay, let's ignore societal injustices and all of that kind of stuff. That's not the point. Okay, now, to know how to solve problems and to choose the problems that you need to solve, right, you need to know yourself. In terms of knowing yourself, what I found is that there are 4 points. Number one is the big 5 psychological traits. If you search for them online, you will be able to easily understand what they are, and more importantly, you will be able to take a test and find out what dominates your mental image. Okay, what psychological traits are prevalent in you. And knowing that, you will be able to easier understand what you can and should focus on. Okay, next is your values. Again, we've talked about this before, but universal human values. You can take a test, you can just read about universal human values on Wikipedia, but basically if you find your values, your top most important values, then it will be much easier to think about what kinds of problems you would like to solve in the world. Then next point is the character strength. Go to the website of Via Character Finder and you will see there will be an assessment, and you will be able to take this assessment for free, and you will find out what your character strengths are. So knowing them will be good because you will be able to understand what you need to focus on. Again, combining all of those points, the values, the big 5, and then strengths, you will be able to narrow down your focus so that you will be able to, basically, you need to choose a problem to solve. Like Musk said, the magnitude of problem will define, well, and he was mentioning about money, right? But I think it doesn't apply only to money. It's like the amount of legacy you will have is proportionate to the amount of problems you solve, right? And then the last point I would like to mention is the career aptitude assessment. Again, you can find a lot of them online, whichever suits you best you can find, but this is also important because different people are better suited to different things. By training, you of course you can improve, but it's much better if you actually start in the area that you would be good at. And so now that you hopefully can learn about yourself better, then the next step is to do this mental exercise. The exercise is as follows. Imagine that there is a God or whatever, all-powerful being. It comes to you and says, look, here is a magic button, okay? If you think about a problem in the world, and if you push this button, that problem will be solved. It doesn't matter how big the problem is, how small, doesn't matter. It will be solved, okay? But here is a catch. If you push this button, the problem will be solved, but you will disappear. You will die. And so now you can think, what would that problem be that would be more important than your life? When you find that problem, that's your purpose. It has to be something so important that you would give your life for. And this is a very hard thing to even imagine because you're like, wait, I'm so important, I don't want to die. Of course, nobody wants, right? But here's the thing. You have limited number of days on this planet, right? So there was a day when you were born, and there will be a day when you will die, right? And so you are approaching that day. So you are sacrificing your life for something. Maybe you're sacrificing your life for watching a Netflix movie. I don't know. But the point is, every second that you spend on this planet is being used by you somehow. And so you have a choice what to spend your time on. And so this example with the button is basically kind of dramatization of what is actually happening in your life. So you are spending your life on something. What is that thing? What do you want to spend your life doing? Usually, of course, it helps to think about a problem. If you find a problem that you would like to solve, well, then you will be able to start spending your life on solving some important problem. And by doing so, you will find or create your own purpose, because you will find that why that Nietzsche was talking about. That will be your why. The solving that problem will become your purpose in life. And so you don't have to push the button. You don't have to switch off yourself immediately, but you will every day follow that path of solving this problem. And so that's how purpose works, in my opinion. And so this process worked really well for me. Usually when people are lacking purpose, I believe that that's what they are lacking. They are lacking this understanding that their life is being spent on something. It doesn't matter how much money you get for yourself. It doesn't matter how much pleasure you get for yourself. At the end of the day, you will face this reality that it will be over. And so, of course, it is nice to have a good life, right? So I'm not saying that you need to suffer. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is that when you have some kind of purpose, some kind of meaning in life, your life becomes better. And this is actually not just my opinion. This is the opinion of positive psychology. Basically, they have found 5 factors that make you what they call flourish. What usual people would call happy, they call flourishing. Okay? And so these 5 factors are: number 1, positive emotions. I find it helps to think about these 5 factors in terms of, can you be happy without them? And usually the answer is no. So let's say the first factor is positive emotions. Yeah? Can you be happy if you have no positive emotions in your life? No. Right? So then, if you want to be happy, that's what you need. You need to have some pleasure in your life. You need to find some fun, something good, something to enjoy. Next is engagement. Engagement is one of those really, really vague topics, and I find that it helps to think about it as the flow. You know the book Flow, right? By Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. Flow is that state in which you feel that you don't exist, or basically you forget your own existence by being so engaged in an activity. And so that's what you're looking for. That's the engagement part. When you can get dissolved, so to speak, in an activity, that basically makes you happier, right? And I'm sure you've had these experiences in your life when you were like, oh my God, this is so exciting, and you don't even think, you don't have any thoughts. In my point of view, this is trance, like meditation type of state, but while you're doing something. So in my case, I usually have it when I engage in sports. When I ride my bike, when I play soccer, when I ride my bicycles, it's kind of like that. I have that experience in those situations. For you, it might be different. For everybody, it's different. But without that, I believe the life experience is incomplete. Next, relationships. Duh. So without good relationships, it's impossible to be happy. And so basically, you need to build and maintain good relationships. And again, for everybody, it's different. What is good, what is, acceptable. But whatever is acceptable and good for you, that's what you need to strive for. Okay? And the next one, this is the interesting one. This is the meaning. And this is the main topic of this podcast. Meaning and purpose, they are basically connected. You need to have something that you live for. You need to have a reason to get out of bed, and that's the meaning part. I'm sure you've heard about the book Man's Search for Meaning, right? By Viktor Frankl. That whole book is about meaning. In the book, the main idea is this, that if you have meaning, you can survive almost anything. You can survive tragedy, you can survive imprisonment, you can survive physical punishment. If you have strong enough meaning, you can overcome those things. And so again, this is what we are talking about. Meaning is, in my opinion again, it's the problem that you are solving. Next, in the last point is achievements. So as you are solving these problems, right, I hope you understand that having a purpose actually improves each of these 4 points. Each of these 5 points. Sorry, I forgot how to count. When you start having a meaning, a purpose, little by little, you will get new achievements. And as you get more and more achievements, you will feel better about yourself. You will feel better about your life. And so you will develop, let's say, self-confidence and belief in yourself. And so those 5 points, they start with PERMA. So the acronym is PERMA: positive emotions, engagement, relationships, meaning, and achievements. And so all of them are much easier to build when you think about life in terms of your purpose. So if you have the problem you're solving, then you can, for example, be more engaged. You can have better relationships, because then you build a relationship on the basis of, let's say, common goal, like solving that problem. That maybe it's global warming, maybe it's, I don't know, freedom, maybe it's building a wall in your country to keep out the immigrants. I don't know what your purpose is. Maybe it's protecting your kids, maybe it's making them stronger, maybe it's, I don't know, fighting crime, fighting diseases. It doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to each person individually. And that's why within that environment, you can build better relationships. And of course, you will feel more engagement as you do this, because it's meaningful to you. And as you do that, you will experience more positive emotions, of course. You will experience negative emotions with setbacks and everything like that. But the positive emotions that come with achievement, that engagement, relationships, they will make your life much, much better. And again, this is not my opinion. This is the research by psychology in the University of Pennsylvania. Okay? I'm sure there will be somebody commenting that, oh, it doesn't matter what legacy you leave. Anyway, you will die. Anyway, in 5 generations, nobody will know you. It doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. I know, but so what? If you have a purpose, your life becomes better. That's it. That should be enough. It's more pleasurable. You get more energy. You get more stamina. You get more resilience if you have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose, and I tried both. I tried living without purpose, and I tried living with purpose. And let me tell you, I feel that having a purpose is much better. Even if I achieve nothing in life, but if I have a purpose and if I'm moving myself or society towards that goal that I have, it's much better for me. And so now let's imagine that we found a problem that we would like to focus on. So now let's talk a little about problem-solving skills. As Father Elon mentioned, we need to solve a problem. So how do we solve problems? And there are several good frameworks. The 2 simple ones are, number 1 is SWOT analysis, SWOT. You can search, it's all over the internet. And my favorite, well, because I kind of developed it for myself, it's MIST. Basically, it stands for materials, information, skills, tools. So when you're having a problem, when you need to solve any problem, I find that all of the things that you need in order to solve the problem can be categorized into 4 categories. They are either materials, or information, or skills, or tools. And this is where many people kind of get lost because, for example, you watch a video on YouTube about, like, if I had to start a YouTube channel, I would do this. Okay, but you have skills to do that. But people who watch, they don't have the skills. And so people who watch, they're like, oh, that sounds simple, I should do that. And then they find out, actually, it's very, very hard. Not just hard, it might be even impossible for them because they don't have the skills. But the person who talks about this, they forget about skills. They say, well, you have this information now, you have tools, which is software, and go, make it. But it doesn't work like that. You need, for example, skills. And so this is my point, that all of the problems in the world can be solved if you have materials, information, skills, and tools. Well, let's take an example. Number 1, you want to establish a human colony on Mars. What an original idea, I know. So what materials do you need? Well, you need fuel to build rockets, to send people to Mars, yeah? You need something to construct your base from. Okay, those are materials. What else do you need? Nothing. You just need to build a rocket out of Earth materials, send things to Mars, build some kind of house or housing there, right? And just send humans. Done. Simple, right? Well, not simple, right? Because you need to have information. For example, what kind of soil is there on Mars? Is it soft? Is it hard? Where should you build? What kind of weather? What kind of environment? So all of this information, like what trajectory you need to send the rocket in, right? With what speed, how long it will take, well, what is the influence of the radiation? You need to know all of this information, because without it, you're probably not going to send people on Mars. The next step is, of course, skills. You need to be able to do those things. You need to have skills to build a proper rocket, not to kill all of your crew members, right? You need the skills of constructing things automatically on the surface of Mars. And of course, you need, let's say, tools, because without proper tools, well, how are you going to do that? So you need solar panels, for example. You need certain physical tools like screwdrivers or whatever, I don't know, welding machines to build the rockets and stuff like that. So without any of these components, you will fail. You have materials, information, skills, and yet if you don't have tools, well, then you're doomed, right? If you don't skills, but you have tools, well, then again, you will fail a lot. So let's recap. Your purpose in life can be A, created or found. And you can do that by knowing yourself and deciding what problem you would like to solve in life. And usually that problem can be also linked to your legacy. And your legacy can be linked to your values. What do you appreciate in life? And so if you combine all of those together, and if you keep asking yourself these same questions, these boring questions, if you were to disappear, what problem would you want to be solved, right? For the price of your life. If you keep asking yourself, sooner or later, you will find that problem that you would like to solve, and then you can start spending your life on solving that problem. That will be your purpose. And your life will be much more fun, much better, and much more interesting. And I will see you next time.